You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Welcome back to the Code RAD show, where we talk about old shows you may not have ever heard of. This time it's going to be a show I never heard of before, but is connected to a show I did know of, and I decided that would be interesting to talk about this show as an introduction to the more well-known show, which I will get to down the road. But first, you need to get Interplanet Volume 1. It's a comic book. You can see some beautiful artwork here. The background is from the interior by Alan Otero, and the cover over there on the left is by Anton Taralov, also known as Tony Tyler. Fantastic. We're currently working on Volume 2, which is going to be bigger, more epic, more exciting, with more danger. On the right is a collection of my short stories called Tales of Conspiracy and Madness. That cover is by an artist named Preston Acevedo. Fantastic job. That does a picture that does not exactly match up to any particular scene, but I think is more of a kind of just got to the spirit of the whole book. Tales of Conspiracy and Madness is available on Amazon. Interplanet Volume 1. My thumbnail down there at the bottom is covering up the link, but you should know by now to go to Fund My Comic and look up Interplanet. You will find it on there. A lot of other good comic books on there. Fantastic website. If you would like to support independent comic book creators, that is the place to go. There's also Indiegogo and Kickstarter. There are indie comics in those places too, but Fund My Comic is by far the coolest. Go check it out. That's where you will find Interplanet, and soon Interplanet Volume 2. All right, so it's not a secret what story I am, what show I am going to cover today, because you have probably seen the thumbnail if you are watching this. I discovered this 1950s British TV version of The Invisible Man. So here is a shot from near the beginning. I think this sets up the show pretty well. This gives you a good idea of what to expect. Here we have that classic radiation chamber where the scientist sticks their hands through those sleeves, which even better than gloves, he's got these claws to manipulate things with. You can see here he's pulling out a radioactive brick and, of course, a guinea pig. This is back when guinea pigs were used for guinea pigs. Now, this sounds and looks quite sinister. I love this old school radiation chamber. In movies and TV shows now, we're used to seeing sort of a plexiglass booth with the hazardous materials inside. This old one doesn't feel as futuristic or technological, but in a way it does kind of seem more practical. Our scientist is named Peter Brady. There is some opportunities for crossover there with a scientist named Peter Brady. He is exposing a guinea pig to radiation. Why? This is one of the things about the show is this is about as good a look as we ever get of Peter Brady, scientist. Interestingly, he's not a mad scientist. He's not an evil scientist. Quite the opposite, even though what he's doing here seems quite ominous and nefarious. But this is the 50s. Experimenting on animals was just what you did. And so here, as sinister as he looks, peering through this slot in the radiation chamber, He causes an accident or some kind of leak happens, and a few minutes later, this is what he's like. So this is the idea of the show. This is the basic aesthetic of the show. Some neat special effects to represent the invisible scientist. This happens like right after he fades away. It's the shock to see the empty suit. I read that they used a little person for some of the scenes where the suit is walking around with no head sticking out the top, of course, with some kind of eye hole in the chest of the suit. So Dr. Peter Brady causes an accident and becomes invisible. And then we get a cool shot for this is a part of the opening credits. Now, I like this kind of Invisible Man stuff. The radiation chamber was kind of cool, but I think a scientist has got to have a laboratory like this with the spiral tube and the Erlenmeyer flask and Bunsen burner. This is super cool. And then we reveal the title of the show. Now, there's no way I'm not going to watch a show called Secret Experiments. Again, like The Champions, this one just checks all the boxes for me. I love stuff that's secret, and I love experiments. One of the episodes I watched of The Champions and talked about was called The Experiments. But here we have The Secret Experiment, even better. And now we all know what the secret experiment was. Peter Brady is working for the some British government agency. Now I thought it was an American accent, but I think the actor was actually Canadian. I assume that was done to interest American networks in airing the show. That was an important part of a British sci-fi action series of the 50s to interest to sell to American networks. So Peter Brady sounds comically American or maybe Canadian. So much he's relentlessly upbeat. He's kind of like a stereotypical American. I'm really surprised they didn't have him saying howdy and have a nice day. Although I wonder if have a nice day came later on after the 1950s. So this is the 1950s. Things move quickly. The current Netflix show would take, 6 episodes before the scientist became invisible. This happens before the opening credits. Here we have some stuffy English government types discussing what to do. Their scientist has turned invisible. They tried locking him up and he escaped, climbed out a window or something. What are they going to do about this? Well, our invisible man, Dr. Brady, has no time to be sitting around imprisoned in a government facility when he has a cool outfit like this. It's hard to beat the classic Claude Rains look, bandaged face, sunglasses, fedora, and then just Claude Rains never had this. Not sure what kind of car it is. Looks kind of like a classic Corvette. Awesome. So he's out tooling around. He's looking for his family to tell his story to his origin story. His wife, of course, is quite alarmed. He's not injured. He's not bandaged up because he got burned up. Dr. Brady is, quite casual about this. As I say, he's a very upbeat, optimistic American. Hey, I just turned invisible. Everything is okay. This is his daughter. She's of particular interest to the Code Rad show because she was played by Deborah Watling, who would later play Vicky on Doctor Who. I think this was a picture that accompanied many obituaries when she died a few years ago, the actress, Deborah Watling. But what a classic picture. I don't know. I don't remember this episode. And of course, it would not have aired in it would not have aired in color, but it's a cool looking TARDIS. It looks like it's been through a lot. Don't know if that was just the way it looked or if it had gone through some special abuse in this episode. But Dr. Brady shows his family how he's invisible, and this is quite a shocking scene. One can imagine British children hiding behind the sofa at this scene. This is pretty unsettling to see the inside of this guy's head. Not really, just the inside of his bandages, but still it's kind of unsettling. Even though Dr. Brady is on the run from the government at this point, he is still upbeat. I'm just invisible. I need to find a cure. Isn't this a fantastic scientific achievement? And from this point forward, he meets up with one of his partners who suggests to him that he is now the king of the world. He has access to everything. There's no limitations to what he can do. Well, our nice Canadian doctor says, I did not come here to plot with you how to conquer the world. I'm just here to find out how to regain being able to be seen. And his friend says, oh, well, see, I was just testing you. I just wanted to see if you would go for it to become evil and take over the world. But Dr. Brady's partner is just tricky. When our invisible man is not looking, his partner takes a vase, smashes him over the head with it, knocks him out. And it's not the only time. For an invisible man, he lets people get the drop on him more than once. And that is more or less the setup for this pilot. It's a little less than 30 minutes. I think this is kind of the format of this show. We'll talk about, I don't care too much about spoilers, but I just talk about the first half of the show or so. And if it sounds interesting to you, you can check out how it resolves. This is just the pilot. I forget how many episodes there were of this. I think something around close to 30, just like the Champions. And as I mentioned before, I believe the production team carried over from this show to a really cool British show in the 60s, which I'm dying to talk about. But I think I will spend a little time on The Invisible Man, see how this turns out. Because it is sort of, this is a hint for what's to come. I think The Invisible Man is kind of a spy show. It's about him, foiling evil plots and things like that. There was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, of course, the big difference is, even though the opening credits say H.G. Wells, Invisible Man, he's not a mad scientist. He doesn't go crazy by being invisible. He's nice. He's very grounded. Just happens to be invisible. He'll moonlight as a crime fighter as he's trying to solve the problem of being invisible, how to become visible again. Sounds like maybe kind of like a format that they used for the Hulk show back in the 70s or 80s. Go out, help people, fight crime, and while you figure out how to reverse this strange scientific thing that happened to you. So thanks for joining us on the Code Rad Show. I'll be back soon with more Invisible Man. If you know this show, please let me know. Make a comment about it. Comment on the video. Let me know what you think about it. And are there any other shows like this from that time? I don't know. I never heard of this show before I was doing a little research this week. So thanks for joining. I'll see you soon. That's all for Code Red.